Some birds have a sophisticated way of regulating their numbers. They plan their families according to their ability to raise them. In a bad year, some owls don't even attempt to nest. In a good year, they might raise 6 or even 7 chicks. It all depends on how many furry mice and voles there are, because voles and mice have good years and bad years too, as I found out when I visited a farm in the middle of the Netherlands. Tawny owls are birds of the night, and the Dutch researchers who've been studying them for 5 years have learnt to be night birds themselves.
What are you doing?
I'm writing down the number of visits the male brings in the nest box and the kind of prey he brings in.
The subjects of Dr. Van Veen's work are comfortably at home in a large nest box in the gable end of a barn, and there's a peephole which allows you to watch at close quarters. The owls don't know you're there and are sublimely indifferent anyway. The female brooding her chicks. The well-being of the family lies in the hands of the male bird, for at this stage it's his job to feed not only himself but the whole family. Tawny owls are highly territorial. They own their hunting estate. They rarely leave it, and they know every inch of it. They need to know their patch, because the major problem breeding owls face is that their food supply varies from year to year. And it seems that the owls adjust their clutch size according to the state of the market. At the moment, voles are plentiful. The courting male supplied his mate with plenty. She grew fat, laid well, and produced a large family. This year, 4 eggs, 4 chicks. It's going well. The chicks get fed when they ask for it, and at the moment, they're asleep. The male bird goes off for more hunting as the chicks begin to stir. Now, I was privileged to look through the peephole at the owls because for most of the time, Dr. Van Veen and his assistant, Zomer Brun, do their work by way of a video camera, a closed-circuit system which allows them to watch and also to record the progress of the tawny household.
How so? She's got a mouse there.
Yes, I think it is a wood mouse. And she cut it into pieces, and she presented with the typical presenting sound.
How often does she do this?
Probably every 3 hours. Particularly when they are small, they feed them with high frequency.
It's very delicate, isn't it?
Yes. I think this is too big. He can't swallow it. She takes it over again. And she eats it herself. 4 chicks. 1, 2, 3, 4 chicks.
Yes.
They all hatched. It's very nice. Oh, that's beautiful.
That is the smallest?
Yes, that is the smallest.
Biggest?
The biggest.
Next, and the smallest?
And the smallest, yes.
Owlets are graded in size because they're born at 2-day intervals. And that's a fact which has a chilling significance for the youngest. For if the male doesn't collect enough food, it's the youngest who dies. The relationship between the female who warms and nurtures the chicks and the male who brings the food needs to be close. She continually calls to him, reassuring him that all is well and that he's welcome. The whole process of breeding is fraught with difficulties and dangers for wild birds, and the way they communicate with each other is crucial. For nocturnal birds, the language of voices and sounds is obviously important. Dr. Van Veen analyzes the calls with a sonograph. Can we have a look at it?
Yes.
So, given that they are talking to each other, what are they saying?
The male says, "Here is food," and she responds is, "Yes, please."
Well, of course, there's much more to it than that. And it seems clear that the discussions between male and female are a necessary part of the bonding process which drives the male to provide for the family, which is entirely dependent on his efforts. For 5 years now, through 5 breeding seasons, Dr. Van Veen and his assistant have sat up in the hayloft of this Dutch barn, and on their video recorder, they captured a record of something which ornithologists have suspected for years, but never seen in real life. When times are hard and the male can't catch enough voles, the youngest owlet starves. And the response of the female parent is the heartbreakingly logical one. She picks up the dead chick, tears it apart, and feeds it to the elder siblings, so that they should have a better chance of surviving. It's a touching scene, but it also adds to the formidable body of information collected by the researchers. In this case, 3 chicks survived to the stage at which both parents were free to hunt for them. But right to the end, it's the largest and strongest owlet which gets first choice of the food, in this case, a frog. In hard times, it's better for 1 fat chick to survive than for 4 equally undernourished ones to starve. It's a tough way of life, but it works. We had the most recent videotape flown over from Holland yesterday because it actually shows the magic moment of fledging. 2 of the owlets survived to reach their 35th day. So it's 10:15 in the evening, Monday last. Both parents are off hunting. One of the owlets has already flown, is already calling from amongst the trees, encouraging the one that's still there, the last, to venture outside the barn, leaving the safety of the nest box forever. Very cautiously. Those bobbing and weaving movements are characteristic of owls. With forward-facing vision, they use it to judge distance accurately, in just the same way as we do. That's his first moth just flown by. 48 seconds later, he emerges completely into the open. The other owlet is still telling him to get a move on. 2.5 minutes later, he's standing tall and looks as if he's about to fly. But he doesn't. 20 seconds later, the other owlet is still calling insistently for him to take the plunge, and this time, he takes it. At this stage, the owlets are quite unable to fend for themselves. They've got to learn to fly well, and they've got to learn the skills of hunting. So the parents will continue to feed them right through to the autumn. But the dice are heavily loaded against them. The chances of enjoying their first birthday are about 50-50. If they make it through the winter, they face the ultimate test of finding and fighting for a territory.